Hello and welcome to the Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, let's take a look at the highlights. Interview of Director Admission regarding SET exam. University bids farewell to ex-Director Distance Education. A look into the Population Research Centre and some notifications from the university. Now the details with your host Binish Ali. Dear students, you must be preparing for the state eligibility test which makes you eligible for assistant professorship in higher education. Often, one has seen that despite doing commendably while writing the paper, students do not fill the paper properly or do mistakes which denies them qualification. The Quest team talked to the Director of Admissions and Competitive Examinations, Professor Irshad Ahmed Nauchu. He said that in this year's SET examination, around 45,000 students would compete in 37 subjects.
See, we conduct SET for 37 subjects as approved by University Grants Commission. And this year we have a huge number, 45,000 candidates are appearing, and out of those 24,000 are appearing in Kashmir sector, while as the remaining 20,000 are appearing at Jammu. Within these two, that is Kashmir and Jammu, we have subdivided into sub-centers. In Kashmir we have three centers. One is Srinagar, main Srinagar city. Second is North Kashmir and third is South Kashmir. And it is basically based on the preference of the candidate as per his residence, what center he or she is preferring. In Jammu we have created four sub-centers. One is Jammu proper, second is Rajouri, that was created this year for the first time, Rajouri. Then we have Udhampur and then we have Katwa. And here we have more than 20,000 candidates, and again, as per the preference of the candidate, we have tried to accommodate him or her in the subject center concerned.
Professor Nauchu reminded students that a few modifications have been done as per the UGC guidelines and students should keep those in mind.
Initially it was wherein the candidate had to qualify all the three papers, that is paper 1 that was mandatory for all, plus paper 2 of the subject concern and paper 3 of the subject concern. Each was to be qualified individually. For open merit candidates, minimum eligibility was 40%, for reserve category candidates it was 35%. However, this year they have modified it, wherein a candidate has to appear in all the three papers and the aggregate merit will in turn determine his or her eligibility. For example, in open merit, if he appears in all the three papers, in some he gets 10%, in some he gets 80%, in some he gets 40%, we will combine that together, and combination should actually complete the minimum eligibility of 40%. That is one modification. Second modification is that the percentage of the candidates who qualify will be related to the number of candidates who appear. For example, if 100 candidates appear, 6% of those who fall in the merit and qualify with minimum required percentage will be eligible to be labelled as SET qualified candidates. That is another change. And here also we have seen that sometimes candidates appear in first paper and second paper and then they miss the third paper in the second session. However, this year it is mandatory that in order to qualify they have to appear in both the sessions and qualify with the minimum required percentage of marks.
He said that no candidate will be allowed to leave the center before the completion of the time because every student carries with him the question paper and the duplicate answer sheet.
See, as per the rules, candidate is eligible to carry the question papers with him or her. And if we allow the candidate to leave before the time is over, they may in turn exchange information with the candidates or with the supervised staff even, and that creates problems. It is as per the rules of UGC as well as CSIR that once we start conduct of the test, even if the candidate completes within a span of half an hour, he will not be allowed to leave till the duration of the examination is over. And at that time, we first collect all the response sheets, count them in terms of number of candidates appearing, and if once we find that is at par with the numbers, only then we allow them to leave, because they are able to carry question papers with them as well as the duplicate copy of the response sheet that will be available, they will carry that with them also.
Professor Nauchu cautioned students not to use whitener or ink remover on the answer sheets as it will jeopardize their marking.
Because as per the rules, whenever we use scanners, in that scanner any minor error is not actually read by that scanner. So it is better for the candidate to remain on a safer side whatever errors has been committed, he has not the right to modify that. However, if in terms of writing the series of the question paper or writing the roll number wrongly, we provide the candidates help to modify that. But in case of questions, nobody will help them or nobody allow them.
The director admissions said that after the passing of the first 20 minutes, no one will be allowed to enter the examination hall.
Under rules, we have to allow them for the first 20 minutes, because even though exam may start at 9:30, but we allow the candidates to enter the halls in advance around 9:10, so that they can occupy their seat properly, and then during that duration the supervisory staff helps him exactly in terms of whatever he has to do. However, if the candidates reach the center after 10 to 15 minutes, we do allow them, because as per rules we have to keep the question paper spread on the allotted seats, because that will otherwise alter the sequence of the series, because in first paper we have 4 series, W, X, Y and Z. If we shift those, series will change. So we keep them on the table and allow the candidates up to 15 minutes to enter the hall. But beyond that, as per the rules of UGC, we don't allow any candidate to enter.
Professor Nauchu denied that the SET examination is tougher than the NET exams.
See, exams are exams. The subject specialists are selected, and not one individually, but a group of experts sit together and set the papers. And after setting, they are allowed to cross-check it so that there are no errors. And the syllabus is already uploaded on the UGC website. We don't change that. Syllabus is at par with the UGC syllabus. And the panel is to be approved by the concerned authorities to set a paper. And obviously, the standard should be at par with UGC, because they become eligible to apply for assistant professor's post. However, of course, there is one error. We don't have any fellowship scheme at the state level. They only qualify for eligibility to apply for assistant professor. Toughness of the papers is dependent upon whether the candidate is fully prepared or not. Syllabuses are uploaded on the UGC website. They can download it much in advance and start preparing. And the scheme also we upload on the website, as to there are 3 papers, one for general knowledge and second and third for subject concern, and that is as per the UGC guidelines. However, I would like to mention here, from next set exam, there will be a changed policy. UGC has modified the policy where question paper 1, that is of the general knowledge, will be of only 50 questions instead of 60 at present operative, and there will be only one paper for subject concern, and that will be of 100 questions. And the candidate again has to appear in both the papers, and at that time the same scale of qualifying with 50% or with 35% is mandatory.
He said that in case candidates find out that there is an error in the key or the question is wrong, they can approach them with the documentary proof.
One more thing we have done this year after approval from the University Grants Commission is that after we actually prepare the lists or prepare the these keys, a candidate will be given a span of 1 week to apply for modification of the key. But during that application, he has to first cross-check it, because it is as per UGC guidelines, the candidate who has to deposit a fee of 5,000 rupees to recheck that key. If it is found that there is a genuine modification, we will carry out that. However, for that, candidate has to give us documentary evidence as well as deposit a fee of 5,000 rupees. We will actually give a candidate time of 1 month to go through the question papers, try to see whether there are any errors and lodge those complaints with us through the university website, and we will try to assess those through subject experts, and who will in turn guide us as to what we can do. It will roughly take us minimum 2 to 3 months to prepare the list of selected candidates.
Asked why all the subjects are not included in the set, Professor Nauchu said that the prerogative of it lies with the UGC.
Around 1982, University Grants Commission actually accepted that we can allow certain states where accessibility to net centers is difficult, we will allow them to conduct the set exams. And in India at present, there are 11 different centers where set is allowed to be conducted by UGC, and that in turn is monitored by University Grants Commission. We have no authority to do it on our own. Before planning this particular examination, we had to convene a meeting of the UGC nominees as well as vice chancellors of the affiliated universities. For example, Kashmir University, Jammu University, Islamic University, Avantipura. We had to sit together and draft a plan. And there, UGC provided guidelines as to what we have to follow. And they also at that time mentioned that you have been authorized to conduct set exams, but you cannot on your own even modify the subjects in terms of numbers, because prior to that we have to apply that some candidates from this subject are asked us to add that subject. But that goes to the UGC committee, and they, after approval, inform us that you can add this one more subject.
The Directorate of Distance Education organized a farewell for the Director and the Dean School of Open Learning, Professor Nilofer Khan. Professor Nilofer superannuated after a service of 33 years in the University of Kashmir. During the farewell function, Registrar Professor Khurshid Ahmed Butt praised the services of Professor Nilofer. He said that she never ducked any responsibility given to her.
This is simply an occasion where we are here to express gratitude for her contribution, for her the dedication and the commitment that she has shown towards the development of this university in general and the Directorate of Distance Education in particular. I acknowledge on behalf of the university, as a registrar, on my own behalf, the kind of dedication, the hard work, the commitment that you have shown right from day one. Because I too have a long association with you, almost a 27 years association with you, and I have been very fortunate to work with her in different capacities, in committees, in as a registrar, or as in many capacities. Let me just sum up her in one word. She was always willing to take the responsibility and complete that responsibility with all dedication and with all commitment, and Allah has always been there to give her the success.
Saying superannuation does not gel with intellectual activities, Dean Research Professor Zafar Ahmed Rishi said that intellectuals retire from government service, but their expertise is always available for society.
That as long as a person is capable of, say, contributing or helping students or brushing shoulders with young boys and girls, he should be always welcome. We basically work in labs, isn't it? And then we don't require, say, those customized, isn't it, cubicles. And then working in a lab is always a privilege, agree, isn't it? And then working with young students is always a privilege, and particularly when they come up with a very novel idea, that always is good. A child can see much larger world if he rests on the shoulders of his parents. We are now breaking, the people who had some connection with those elderly people now are, say, also super innovating. And a time would come when people who had laid the foundations, strong foundations of these departments would not be known to the youngsters, right? Some mechanism has to be there that we invite people on different occasions, agreed, solicit their advice, agreed, have a good, some sort of a mechanism by which they remain in contact, agreed, in a virtual sense as well. That is how the institutions grow, and that is how we remember these services, isn't it, the rendered by people who superannuate from the university.
Vice Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi said that as humans one should respect individuals, not the chair one is holding.
Respect it never dwindles. It actually grows by the time, by the moment, grows by the age. Tu kariu andaz pane lokut mol imsat lokut chasa mol yor shumana khabar kya kehti. Patu thi bod gasan chu budzar gasan chu patu dapan nasam shibis pet raham kar. Go respect increases with age. Yet pate gasa. Man actually use duck. This is the kind of growth we have. This is the kind of education we have. I pata zara votus butus bapalain suit. Yemis thrown pressure. I'm saying banyos kusta. You shouldn't kustan. You kustan guys one biak nafar. Kusta. It has to be reflected by your stature in the without the chair. Sushi ehtaram. Sushi izzat. With chair ehtaram shunu ka ehtaram mein. It's prat. Hey, balki kya bitma lagi bakar. Kun sadman guys kya. My conduct does not have to be like that. Taba she mizaj as gumus kharab afsaran taimi bapat. Because he presumes and assumes his zahration sari mein respect kar. Tishunu kis respect to sirif kya, which grows by that time, which is as good when you are out of chair.
Thanking everyone for the help they rendered during her services in the university, Professor Nilofer said that she is lucky to have served the university for more than 3 decades.
I worked as a director Directorate of Lifelong Learning. I worked as a director for Directorate of Distance Learning, and then I was put as a director for both the departments, and afterwards the work was very hectic for me for DLL to go for a work in DLL and the Directorate of Distance Education. So I, that time, was placed as I requested that time on the Honorable Vice Chancellor to have only one department I wanted to go for. So I selected the Directorate of Distance Learning, where I was actually I had got the appointment that time.
The Population Research Center was established in 1985 and is sponsored by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. The center caters to the demographic research needs of Jammu and Kashmir. It undertakes continuous research on demographic situations and population and health-related programs of the state.
The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, has established a network throughout the country to set up population research centers with the mandate to provide them a critical research-based input which is required to formulate policies, plans, strategy, and modify the centrally sponsored schemes in general and the schemes which are meant for the welfare of masses so far as health-related and welfare-related schemes are concerned. So it is in line with that Population Research Center of Srinagar, which is established in University of Kashmir, came into being.
The objective of the center is basically to conduct various socio-economic, demographic and health surveys and give feedback to the Government of India, because the center is sponsored by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, on the implementation of various programs which are currently run under National Health Mission in J&K.
Professor Rifat Yasmeen, director of the PRC, said that the center conducts research in various fields as prescribed by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare.
The main mandate of PRCs is to conduct research on all demographic features and mostly on the areas which are connected with family, health, family welfare and all health related issues. So the thrust areas of Population Research Center, these have been National Health Mission, reproductive and child health, demographic and health surveys, health management and information system and aging. So these are actually the areas where Population Research Center has been carrying on the research and projects since its inception.
The center is presently working on various projects for different agencies.
We have, from its inception till date, completed 108 projects. These projects are sponsored by ministry, these projects are funded by ministry, and these projects are meant to provide a critical research input for betterment and modification of the schemes and for policy formulation which is required for the overall development and the welfare of the society.
Professor Yasmeen said that the center is run according to a project implementation plan devised by the ministry.
Every year we get PIP, that is called a Program Implementation Plan of centrally sponsored schemes. So every year we get 12 districts, 10 from J&K and 2 from Himachal Pradesh, that is the state which is near to your state. So we have to go to these districts and we have to monitor, we have to evaluate the NRHM related programs which are being implemented in the hospitals and other centrally sponsored schemes which are directly related to the family Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and so that each and every member of the Population Research Center is able to complete the full man day's work which he or she is supposed by the ministry, for which ministry pays him or her.
The center has completed various important projects related to healthcare and other public welfare issues.
Some of the major projects which we have completed in recent years, say for example, we completed a project on monitoring of state NRHM program implementation plan in Jammu and Kashmir. we conducted a survey, National Family Health Survey 4. It was actually a series. So far 3 surveys have been conducted. This was the 4th one. And this survey we conducted in collaboration with IIPS. And this survey is first of its kind, which was taken up with any department in the university that falls in the School of Business Social Sciences. So this is the project where the cost involved was rupees 4 crores. So far no department, no center in the social science has been in a position to get such a big mega project and complete in a time bound manner.
Apart from the ministry, the center also works in collaboration with various other important agencies.
So these studies we are conducting in collaboration with some of the important institutions. For example, we have collaboration with UNICEF, we have collaboration with USAID, we have collaboration with NCEAR, IIPS, NACO and Planning Commission of India, where we conducted these studies which are purely based on socio-economic issues, most importantly the issues related to health and demographic features, anti-poverty programs, centrally sponsored schemes. These are also being monitored by our Population Research Center.
The center provides research data to MD doctors, students and scholars from other departments of the university.
We also help the doctors from SICKIMS who are pursuing their MD, so they get a kind of research feedback and they are being provided consultancy as well as guidance by the Population Research Center. Besides the MD doctors, the other agencies who are collecting data or who are doing some project on health related and family welfare related issues, we provide them consultancies, whether they are NGOs or they are private agencies. Then the research scholars who are pursuing their research in any of the areas where population research, and because we have a huge data bank available with the Population Research Center, so they come to our center, they are getting data as well as guidance as well as all kinds of facilities which they require. So in that case we can say yes, it is an interdisciplinary kind of research is being carried out.
Associate Professor of the department, Mr. Bashir Ahmed Bhatt, said that the center has trained various personnel in the state healthcare department to ensure proper collection of data.
The ministry involved the PLCs in upgrading the quality of this health management information system. In this process, we trained more than 800 ASHA workers, ANMs, medical officers, chief medical officers in managing this HMIS data, and we trained them how to improve the data quality. Besides this center also conducted some studies on this HMIS data quality, and 2 of our studies became the model at the national level, and other centers in the country were directed by the ministry to follow the methodology which we had adopted.
Now some notifications from the university. The admission process for the postgraduate and other courses for the academic session 2018 shall commence from 3rd week of March. The candidates desirous to seek admission to any of the programs in the university are advised to keep the necessary certificates ready. Certificates under process will not be entertained. Candidates applying under sports category must contact Director Physical Education and Sports, University of Kashmir for verification of sports category certificates well in advance. For further information, you can log on to kashmiruniversity.ac.in or kashmiruniversity.net. That is all for today's episode. Log on to our website emmrckashmir.com where you can check the latest episode of Quest. You can also send us your valuable suggestions at our email address, that is quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go.